Welcome to Love and Focus, building a community with an only child. My name is Four, like the number four, you got it. And so this podcast is about mums with an only child that is navigating their way through a new or to a new location. So if you're a mom with an only child, you and your husband, you've moved and you may not know anyone, you don't have any friends, and you're wondering, oh my goodness, I gotta start new. How do I go about building a community? Or you might have been in a community for many years, like myself, and now you're going to start building a community for you, for your child. How do you go about that? So I wanted to share with you um, in this podcast my stories, um, some parenting tips that I've learned. Now, my parenting tips are going to go up to 6 years old because, folks, that's all I can go. I can't give you parenting tips for 7 or 8 years old because my child is not 7 or 8 or 9 or 10. I would definitely have to get someone as a guest speaker to share with you that wisdom. But as a mom that has been married for 17 years and now has a child and she's 6 years old, I just wanted to start a podcast and share with you my stories as I'm also exploring and discovering, the life of a mom and walking that motherhood journey and raising an only child. So, welcome. I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself. Well, first of all, for those who are listening, I also am doing a video recording, and you're wondering why? Well, I figured, what if someone wanted to find out what I look like, and then say they're on like another platform, social media platform like YouTube, and I don't know why. And like, let's click onto this because now there's a YouTube channel of my podcast. They can just click onto this, like, ah. That's what she looks like. I mean, like, so I should wave hello. Now, for those who are listening on the podcast and it's audio, I'm in my office and I wear glasses and my hair up is in a bun. I got my beautiful brown. I'm Islander, Samoan, but I was born and raised in New Zealand, so I have a New Zealand accent. Now, I will try the American accent because I've been here 17 years. Like, I can say water and yeah, I've practiced quite a bit. But when I say, can you take out the rubbish, please? Yeah, I still use those terms like rubbish and in the boot or the depending who I'm talking to. Okay, so getting back on track. I'm the youngest of five siblings, and big shout out to my siblings, um, Ron, Maureen, Langi. Oh, I got that order wrong. I better go back and fix that up. Ron, Maureen, Sue, and Langi. So, and then it's myself. A shout out to them for listening because I asked them, hey, I'm starting a podcast and I hope you guys are listening. And then my husband. So, to Jeremy, no. And to my in laws. Now I feel like I've won an Oscar and I'm just saying thank you to people who are listening. I crack myself up. So that's a little bit about myself. I guess I'm from New Zealand and then we got married. And so my husband's from America, so he's from here. So I moved to live with here and so highly blessed that his family are loving and caring. And so they just take really great care of me, and I had wonderful relationships with my in-laws, and my husband's friends are super duper awesome. But I can really understand as a mom with an only child, like, oh boy. Oh, and the wonderful thing about me having an only child is that my two siblings, my brother Ron, he's the oldest, and my sister's Maureen, they had an only child too. And then one of my best friends, Christina, she had an only child. She only had one baby. So and I so while I was in New Zealand growing up, I got to see it, and now their kids are a lot, the older, um, and so I'm like, oh my goodness, you guys made it look easy. Mine's 6 years old, and you guys, your kids are like 20 something. And I'm like, how? Why am I tired? Why am I tired and want to have a nap? And they have been my support. My sister Maureen, I'll ring her up and like, is this normal? But I'll have to tell you guys in another episode when I had Olivia. I'll just give you guys a little detail. She came and spent time with me, and she practically like stayed here. I mean, well, I shouldn't say practically. She stayed here for a month, and I was so spoiled because she cooked and cleaned and fed baby. I mean, she did everything, and I just came out of the. I was like, oh, I just had a wonderful sleep. And I would play with Olivia and be there. But she was like my support. You know how everyone has a support animal? Because my husband, he's working full time. And so and he's working. And if I needed that emotional support, she was there. And I needed her to help me with baby, she's there, right there. And so when she left, I was like, what the heck? I was crying. Olivia was crying. I tell people, I don't know if my husband was crying at the airport. I bet he held it in because someone had to hold it together. So I'll go more into that in those episodes. So she had an only she's a mom of one, and then my brother, he had one. Now my sister Sue, she has 9 beautiful children, and they're now having children. And then my other sister, she has 3 kids, and the oldest ones had her oldest baby. No, I shouldn't say baby. Her oldest child has 2 beautiful babies. So you can see just the different. Some of us had multiple children, some, and the others. I shouldn't say some. Other 2 siblings had multiple children, and we had one child. Now, why did I go into that? I have no idea. I guess what I wanted you to get a little bit of a background about myself and my siblings, and you'll hear me mention my siblings a lot because they have taught me a lot. And so, like raising an only child, when I had Olivia, um, I was already familiar. I'd already built a community for myself. Because I didn't know anyone, I just plugged into church life, and trying to get to know just people in the community. And I was really blessed that people at church would take me to different places. And then as I started forming friendships, and then I started having children, I was like, oh, you know what? When I have a baby, I'm gonna these are good places to take. So when I did have a child, it was kind of different because all my friends had a lot of my friends were stay-at-home moms, which was awesome. And at the time, I was working, and I left work. I think maybe 6 months, 6 or 9 months after work. Um, I had the green light to I was to be a full-time mom, and boy, I took that. For anyone who is listening in my old job, they're like, yeah, she didn't even like wait. She said goodbye. Yeah, I'm laughing because it is so true, folks. Yeah, I was like, boy, I better take this blessing before I wake up and it's a dream. And so I was very blessed because I had my in-laws, my mother and father-in-law, look after Lydia, also with my with her great grandparents. So that's how I was able to have the support to go to work. And so they did that for, I can't remember, 6 or 9 months. But it really made me think when I got home, when I ended up being a full time stay at home mom with Olivia, I was like, you know what? Oh, we went to the library. Now, for those who are living in a new community and you're like, I just need to get out the house. I don't know anyone. What's a good place to start to take my little baby or my child? And if they're young, I always say if you go to a park, which you probably would already know because you think, park, they can play and do things. I'm going to I say go to the library if you can, because not everyone can drive, and I get that. And catching a bus, I'm not sure if you're, depending on, what country or, where you're living, not everyone has public transport. And so if you can go to the library, because you can just let them run around. I mean, I think parents, you sit there, and for those who want to read or those who just want to, you can meet so many parents at the library. And that's a tip. That's how I got to meet some really nice people at the public library. Both a lot of mums, and then every now and then you'll see a dad. And yeah, I just say hi. They say hi because the kids, they're not playing together. And that's the one thing I learned about children. They're just so easy to say hi to each other and make friends. And so if you, that's a tip. I say, hey, just go to the library and generally. But if you live in a town and you're like, my town doesn't have a library, then the next suggestion would be at a park. And if you're like, well, we really don't have a park, then I would hopefully, like, what about the street outside? I mean, the street outside. What about outside? Do you live in a community where you can go for a walk around the street? My neighbor, at the time when she had one, she only had one child. I would just see her just walk around the street. And then I said to her, hey, do you go to the library? Because they have, generally, libraries have good baby and me sing time. Like, that's the one thing I absolutely love because I formed friendships, like really good friendships there at during that season. She was like, no. I said, yeah, well, our library, they have a mama and a daddy sing time with, and they tell stories, and it's really for an hour. But what they did with our library, they had like story time, and where they played games, and they had bubbles, and then they had toys. So they did that, the story time, sing songs for maybe about 20 minutes. And it was hands on, and sometimes they had puppets for the little babies to play. And then at the end, for the for the remaining time of that session, they got toys out, and they had bubbles, and it was just so good because I for a mom with an only child, we know that we want our little kids to play. We want our child to play with other children. And so it was just wonderful having the opportunity for Olivia to play with other kids. And also for me to get to know another parent, because you have circle time. And Olivia and I absolutely enjoyed it. So we made sure we went, and we probably went for like 2 to 3 years. Um, and from there, I started a group called Little Local Adventures. And I'll tell you a story about that later. That'll be in the next episode. So I hope this has been a fun and just let you know, welcome. Thank you for tuning into this podcast. And I cannot wait to read your comments, and just want to say hi and I will see you next time. God bless. Bye.